I'm really excited to bring one of my clients who recently graduated with me, Jasmine, and for her to come share her story of what it was like working together, her transformation, and also just to show you guys what's possible, when you kind of take the leap of faith and believe in yourself and go after your dreams. So I'm really excited to have Jasmine on board today just to share a little bit more about her story. So first, why don't we give a quick introduction? You can introduce yourself to my audience, explain a little bit about what you do and why you're so amazing.
Oh, thanks, Selena. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Ryder. I am a career and success coach, and I work with working professionals and help them pivot into the tech industry and help them level up their salary. And it's something that has been really important to me because something that I've done for myself several times. And then I was like, well, let me try doing it for other people who are in need of, just making a switch from a job they hate to a job that they're inspired by. And Selena was a really big help to that because I actually wasn't even a career and success coach when I first met her. I was a joy coach.
Oh,
And so like that was like step one.
yeah, step one. Like before
Yeah.
we even got there, we had to like, refine there.
Yeah.
That's
Do
amazing.
a little refresh.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I remember like our story is so fascinating because, we've connected for a while before you said, okay, you know what, I want to work with you. I think it was back in October, maybe. It was like a year and a half,
Yeah.
a year ago, a year and a
Yeah.
half ago,
Hmm.
maybe. And it took you about like 6 or 8 months to then come back and say, you know what, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
So, and I think like, to everyone watching this, it's like it's totally normal when you are going through that phase of, you know what, I want to figure it out on my own. And then eventually like you figure it out and say, okay, I do want help. So maybe we can bring it back to like that point of your kind of the beginning phase of your entrepreneurship and your coaching journey. How
Right.
you went from saying no to me the first time and then like what led you to then saying yes the second time. I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had started my business in August of 2021. And then I want to say like in October, I had found you on Facebook and reached out to you. We had a call and I was like, oh, this looks amazing, but like definitely cannot even afford it right now. It's like, and also like I'm the kind of person where I need to try it first. I
Mhm.
actually did have the money then. Now that I'm thinking
Oh,
about it, I actually did have it, but I was like, you know what, let me try and do
yeah.
my own thing and see how it works. And then I did. I spent a year, or a little under a year, just doing it myself and just kind of running into like roadblocks and stuff. And I would always come back to you and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or you would check in with me, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, girl, I'm gonna work with you." And you're like, "Okay, girl, cool." And I'm like, "But I really am gonna work with you, I promise." And
Oh,
so, like, a quick thing for like coaches out there, it's like if the clients are like, "I'm gonna work with you," and they set that intention, and then you don't hear from them for like 3 months, don't worry, they might come back.
and you even unsubscribe. Here's the funny thing.
I
You
did.
unsubscribe from my email list. And then like when we're in our coaching session, she's like, hey, can you add me back to your email list? I think I unsubscribed. I was like, oh, at first I was like, oh, okay, but you're working with me now, so it's
I
all
totally did. I did. I unsubscribed because I was like, I just can't. Like, all these messages are great and these emails are great, but I can't even. Like,
good.
I was like horse blinders because I was like, I'm at that point, I was like no longer even in the financial position to where I could invest in coaching. And
Oh,
so I'm like, yeah, I just need to like figure this out. And then like I remember because I did, I was like, I'm going to work with Selena. I know that I'm going to work with
mhm.
Selena. And then when I was ready to, it was like right after my birthday, I think.
Mm.
I think it was right after my birthday, or you had reached out and you had asked me about my engagement, or no, my wedding.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was like, I got married, and then I was like, and now I'm ready.
Mm.
And like I still didn't even have the money, but I made it work.
Yeah.
I figured it out. Because I was like, at that point, I was like, I've done it
Yep.
myself.
Mhm.
It's been like roadblocks. I have learned a whole lot about what not to do, but I
Yeah.
still don't have the like proper
Mm.
tools and resources on like what to do to like really drive my business and really make it to where I am getting leads. Because at first, like I wasn't even getting leads. I wasn't getting, I had prospects, I had people
Yeah.
who like one or two people that were interested, but it wasn't like consistent. And so then working with you really helped kind of like propel that. And now I do have like a consistent
Yeah.
flow of leads.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then
Mhm.
when you like talked about that period of time where, you know, you then the second time decided to like just go for it, even though the second time you didn't have the money and the first time you had the money, you didn't invest. What were the things that like you did from that period that like didn't work that made you feel, you know what, this is the time that I need help, that I'm going to invest in help, even if I don't have the money there. Like, what were some of the nuances, like the day to day that felt like frustrating for you?
Well, there were like a couple of things. So like one, I felt like I didn't really know what to do and like how to organize my time or like how to reach people. Like I felt
Yeah.
like I am a pretty motivational person.
Yeah.
So I was doing everything and I'm very type A. I have a very type A personality. I am extremely ambitious and I am a pretty motivational person. I like to speak and I was speaking. I was doing speaking engagements. I was doing podcasting. I
Wow.
had Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I had TikTok. I had a
Our first
LinkedIn.
session, we're like,
There was a moment where I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, this, and this, and this. And you're like writing it down. You're like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then I was like, and I'm doing this, this, and this. And you like literally looked at me and was like, girl, stop.
yeah, like my glasses just dropped, like,
They
oh,
did. You like
yeah.
you looked at me over your glasses. You gave me like the mama look, and you're like, what are you doing with your life? And I was like, girl, I don't know. And so so it was like I was doing everything. Like, I mean, the day before my wedding, I was at UC Berkeley giving a speech. And so like, giving a workshop. And so like I was just like doing everything and I had all this energy, but it was not focused. So that was like the first thing.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that I think was the biggest catalyst was I gotten into ads and you hear about like people running ads and stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, well, I have a service that is important. I think it's valuable. I
Mhm.
ran the ads and I lost like $500
Oh.
and I did not get like two people I think had signed up for like my launch and but they didn't show up to the actual launch. And so like I had basically like not and I was like, okay, I'm getting into territory where I don't know what I'm doing
Mm.
and I'm losing money. I'm not making money. I
Mhm.
need help. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like what it was. And it was like, okay, girl, not
Yeah, you did try a lot. Like I remember our first session, like you did everything that I could have named in terms of like a marketing strategy to like grow our business from launching to podcasts and TikTok and whatever. And like, you know, to everyone else watching, it's not like those things don't work. It's just figuring out like what is the best strategy for you to work on right now. And
right,
your offer at that moment was like a one-on-one offer, which is a pretty high touch. You know, it is a high level investment. So like sometimes a lot of strategies at once might not make the most sense for like where you're at
right,
in business. So it's more about like having the clarity and okay, like this is what I'm focusing on now rather than put so much energy, even though of course you can work. Like, you know, you're not afraid to like do the work. It's just what's the smartest way for you to allocate your time and energy, right? And that was like kind of the big thing for you.
right, exactly. Exactly. And I did. I cut everything down. I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram, but I'm not really using it. But
Mhm.
um, like I stalk. Of course, I stalk on Instagram, but I am on LinkedIn. That's my primary channel. And I have my email and I
Mhm.
have my LinkedIn, and that is what I do.
Mhm.
And it has been such a dramatic change in just my focus.
That's
Mhm.
amazing. And then if you were to think back, right, like the past 3, 4, 5 months of our time together, like what would you say was the biggest transformation that, you know, you've seen in your business throughout that period?
So definitely switching from joy coaching to career and
Pivoted.
uh, yeah, definitely that pivot there is from joy coaching to the career and success coach has been a tremendous um, shift and has helped my business in just so many ways. Um, and just like like you being a coach and just being real about like, I think that joy coaching is amazing. I don't think that it's going to get you where you want to be in
Mm,
terms of your business and just like having that. And then it's not that I don't do joy coaching anymore. Like my program is still modeled with the emphasis on living a joyful life and living a successful life.
yeah.
The vehicle that I get my clients from where they currently are to that joy and that fulfillment and that success is through. the tech industry and making sure that they have a career that helps them get to that point. And so that has been like the one. And then also like marriage to that one, or married to that one, is the focus,
Mm,
cutting out everything else and just having a focus.
yeah.
It's been not easy, but it has been a lot better and a lot more productive for me to be able to um, work. And it made my focus allowed my clients and prospective clients to understand where they fell, and it allowed them to like not be confused as
Mm,
to what I do. And so there's a lot more, hey, are you taking clients, or hey, I want to talk, or I want to book some time, because they know that I'm talking to them.
yeah, I love that. I think like the pivot was what initiated everything, right? Because once we figured out, okay, join happiness, let's make some tweaks there, even though you're still living that purpose of helping people find joy and happiness, it's figuring out like what is your like what do you want to be known to in the world for people to say like, okay, I want to, hire Jasmine. And then from there we
Right.
figured out your strategies on LinkedIn, right? Because we are like, okay,
Right.
you don't need to be on like TikTok, Instagram, or podcast to make sign clients as a career and success coach. We just figured out, okay, LinkedIn is your place, and then you just laser focus, and like the results started kicking in. I would say like, if do you remember kind of like when, I mean, things happened pretty fast for you in like the first like month or
Yeah.
so when we first started
Yeah.
working together.
I think like I think like not even a month, maybe 2 weeks in,
Oh yeah,
maybe two
you
or
were booking
two and a half.
calls
I was
like,
booking calls. Like I had booked like 14 calls.
oh my god.
Yeah. And then like even September, I booked 14 calls. October, I booked 14 calls. December, November and December, kind of there was a drop because of holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then like now, like we're in January, I'm already at 10 calls. And
Wow.
so like, and that may like that's a lot for me. And it's just kind of been like consistently going in that direction. And yeah, it's just like that focus and
Yeah.
having people just understand like I had a career in sales before I even started my entrepreneurial coaching business. And I know that confused customers don't buy. And so it was just trying to mm, make my marketing and convey that
Yeah.
my business and my services to customers that aligned with them so that they would come on over Jasmine.
Yeah. They like just understand, okay, this is Jasmine's world is safe for me. Like I can like trust her expertise and I know that like she's for me. And I think that's so beautiful, right? With your efforts like on LinkedIn and just being so laser focused there. It's not like, Jasmine just like started on LinkedIn and everything was like perfect. Like not all of her call, not all 14 calls converted, obviously, but it's
No.
like I think it's through the process, like you and a lot of my clients, we figure out what works, what doesn't. Okay, a lot of discovery calls here, maybe not all of them converted. What do we need to fix? What do we need to tweak? And I think every step of the process, we were able to find problems to solve in the marketing
Hmm.
and like continue to work off of that, right? Because
Right.
if you remember, I think the first like month you booked a lot of calls, and I think you did close like
Two.
two, two, yeah,
Hmm.
two clients in that first like, and you made back all your investment, like
I
just
made my ROI right on that.
yeah. Um, but then like, of course, we want to celebrate the good parts, but it's also through coaching, we're like, okay, but like, how do we maybe like refine your messaging or maybe your discovery call process to then just like mostly calling people that can afford you.
Right.
Maybe can you talk about a little bit about like that, signing the clients and then also figuring out like, okay, there's new problems to solve, and maybe maybe reflecting on how your marketing is currently. I think that would be
Right.
great insight
Yeah.
for the audience to.
Yeah, absolutely. So like even though I was booking a lot of calls, like Smith said, they weren't converting. And that was because my messaging resonated with a lot of people, but the people that were the wrong people for my business. And
Mhm.
so I had to figure out on how to um how to speak to the my target, my ICA, ideal customer avatar, and make sure that I was speaking to them in a language that they understood. I already knew where they were. I knew the place they were. I knew what their problems were. I just needed to make sure that I was like dead in, zeroed in onto what are the actual problems that they have, and making sure my messaging was very specific. So a lot of the people that wanted to work with me, they didn't have jobs. And so they could not afford
Yeah.
my services. And I wanted to help them, like, of course. But then that's also like with business, it's like you want to help everyone.
Mhm.
Um, at least I want to help everyone. I know Selena wants to help everyone, but
Yeah, I
sometimes you can't
wish.
help everyone,
Yeah.
and so that's why we have these targeted, messaging and making sure that our marketing is targeted because there are the specific people that our business is aligned to. And so I didn't have that at first, but now, and I remember I worked specifically with you. I was like, Selena, we got to get this marketing under
Yeah,
control.
we
Like,
gotta get this like
we got to
sorted
get it
out.
under control. And
Yeah.
so, a lot of it was just kind of like thinking about, my target customer, like, who
Mhm.
is she? Like, what does she do? And just understanding, like, her name is Monica, understanding Monica,
Yeah.
and then writing that, like, writing in a way where Monica is going to understand. And then also making sure because it's not just like what you write, but it's like
Mhm.
the first line, does it
Yeah.
capture people and make them want to continue reading so that they can get to the like the meat and potatoes of what you're trying to say.
Mhm.
But I didn't like have the first line. So I people weren't really,
Yeah. You didn't
they
call
weren't
them
really,
out. Yeah.
I wasn't calling them out. And so, being able to like organize my copy in a way where it really like brought people in. And I started seeing like a tremendous like jump up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, and I even like LinkedIn they've like really upgraded their whole
Oh,
analytics.
really?
And yeah, so like they've really upgraded. And I actually looked back and from that meeting that we had where we talked about my copy and my content, it's been a huge spike. Like my top performing posts have all been in January.
That's amazing. What
Yeah.
was the spike like percentage if you remember?
I don't remember, but it went from like a couple hundred views to like thousands.
Oh, like
So
almost like 10 times.
1700, yeah, 1700. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And just like
Yeah.
from these like tweaks that we make, and of course, sometimes like when you're looking at your own content, even for me, I don't know what my blind spots are. And that's why we hire coaches, right? To like see,
Right.
oh, okay, maybe like here, you might think it sounds the same, but just like changing the word or changing like the way you talk about some of these problems will call out your type of people a lot more clearly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I started to notice that, instead of me constantly hunting for people, people were coming to me.
Yeah.
And which really always feels really great because this is not easy. It's hard.
Oh my God. I would love to hear more about that. Like, so your transition, I think all of us here too, it's like, we always want people to come to us naturally. Of course, it's like we want to be, we want the right clients to just come to us naturally without us having to like do much. But
Hmm.
of course, there is like a transition of us like showing up and us like proactively seeking out our network to like get those initial traction. So maybe for you, like, how has that transition been for you, right? Because we started out just like expanding your network and being proactive in seeking out who I can help. And then like now, what does that look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm getting a lot more comments. I'm getting a lot more engagement
Mhm.
in my on my social media. People are responding back to me via email when I send out my newsletters. And then I'm also getting DMs where people are talking about, oh, I saw this, I saw your story. I'm
Yeah.
getting referrals. People
Ah,
are like, oh, that people that I've spoken to, and maybe they weren't right for the program, but they knew somebody in their circle that would benefit. And then they were like, oh, I, told my mom about you, or I told my sister
oh,
about you, or I told my friend about you. And so it one of the things is that it just kind of validates my
mhm.
business and my services,
Yeah.
and also my messaging and just
Mhm.
what I'm trying to do. It kind of solidifies that validation that I have a service that is valuable and that people are interested in and people will pay for.
Yeah.
Um, at this point right now, one of the things that I'm working on is trying to make sure got my leads. Now I didn't have any leads before Selena. Now I've got leads.
Yeah.
We're just trying to maximize those conversions now and turn from the lead to the
Exactly.
client. And so I just want like more of a 25% conversion rate. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And so like that's like a next thing that I'm like working on right now since I'm like, check.
Yeah.
And now this is the next to-do
Yeah.
list.
Exactly. It's like every, when we think about like seeing like client success stories or like even just like any like success in business, we always think
Hmm.
about, okay, there's just the good parts. But at every next level, you have new problems to solve, right? Like your initial problem was like, okay, I don't have any leads. Like I don't, no one knows who I am. And then once
Right,
a lot of people know who you are, you're like, you know what? How do I convert all of my followers? How do I like convert all these leads into clients? And that's right, all of us. It's a work in progress. But it's
right.
exciting that you do have this new problem to solve versus like
Oh
before, where
yeah.
that didn't problem didn't exist.
I like my problems were like that everything was a problem, and now like I'm having targeted. It's like the difference between like I have all these problems but I'm not moving
Mm,
versus like
yeah,
having
but you're
problems but
moving.
it's constantly moving forward and moving the
Yeah.
needle forward and just giving that forward momentum. And
Mm,
so I think as a business owner you're never going to not have problems. There's always going to be something that needs to be fixed. There's always going to be something that needs to be tweaked. But
mm,
how are you moving? Are you moving forward? Are you moving backwards? Are you being stuck? And
yeah.
so I think that's the most like important thing to me is that I'm constantly moving forward. My business is getting better and I'm learning how to make it better.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember one of our sessions you were saying like, wow, this is like actually fun. Like some of the things we talked about, we're like, you know what, this is fun to solve. It's not just like, oh my God, there's so many problems. It's like, wow, I'm excited to like tackle this new thing or in my marketing or in my sales. And it's just like a new exciting thing that I can work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love learning. Like I love it. It's I love being coached. I am a coachable person. And so if I can get information that helps me progress in any aspect of my life, then I'm gonna take it. Like I'm a big fan of self-help books.
Yeah.
Big fan of like, YouTube University,
Yeah.
Coursera. I love taking in information
Mhm.
and, really putting that information into action. So that's why, like, like, I knew for myself when I wanted to get with a coach, like, I knew Selena was going to be the person for me. And might I say, like, one of the reasons why I did choose you out of all the coaches
Yeah.
that are out there
Mhm.
is because you're like super honest about the the first year in business, what it actually feels like. You weren't out there talking about like, oh yeah, I had a $350,000 launch. Yeah, and I've only been in my business for 3 months.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's
There's a
like it
lot
is
out there.
so
I mean,
there's
all
like a
props to
lot
them, but it's like,
props, but that is
yeah.
not the normal
Mhm.
business experience. Like that's not that is not the like average
Yeah.
experience for a business owner. And so, one of the things that I really struggled with was like social media will have you out here thinking that if you haven't made $1 million in your first 6 months or your first year of business, then you're a failure. And
Yeah.
so, just
Crazy.
you're working with somebody that was like not that, but also like, look, this is what I've done. This is the
Mhm.
success that I had. This
Yeah.
is where I'm going,
Mhm.
and I did it and it's working. It is absolutely working. And so, that was one thing that I appreciated. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, it's time.
Just transparency and like, with my approach, and I appreciate you for like sharing that, is I also find that when it comes to investing in coaches, sometimes the best coach for you might not be like the $1 million coach. It could just be someone that's like a few steps in front of you that can
Right,
guide you through knowing like, you know what, Jasmine, I was right there a year ago. Like I know
right.
exactly what you're going through. I know what you're thinking. I know how you're feeling versus if you hired a coach that's like making millions, they're like, I don't even know what it's like to like not make a million. Like sometimes like coaches have grown so far that it can feel out of touch to like coach someone that low. Of course, there are exceptions, but it's like just knowing like maybe it's not just about chasing the coach that has the biggest like revenue or whatever. It's about finding who's the most suitable for you where you're at right now in business.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a valid point that you bring up because there's a couple of things. One, as business owners, as people, we have to have the wherewithal to know where we are
Yeah.
in our business. And I could have gotten with like a coach that's doing millions of dollars and doing 7 figures, 8 figures. But
Mhm.
like, one, I'm not even ready. And my business is not even the place to take in that information because I have not even built the foundation. I
Mhm.
have not even built the foundation in order to be able to like build into
Yeah.
like 7 figures, 8 figures. And so like I knew that like I was like the information that you were teaching was like gonna lay the foundation for me. And when I get there, of course I'm gonna like go after the $1 million, 8 figure, 7 figure, 8 figure
Yeah.
coaches,
Mhm.
because that's where my business will be and that's where I will be,
Yeah.
in order to like be able to receive that information and actually do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm glad that our connection worked out and that, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. And I guess like another question I have is more so just like you just reflecting on your journey, right? Since we started working together and just like the last like, the transformation of your business really. I would love to know just like how does it all feel right now for you to like just be with where you're at? Because I think as business owners and especially as coaches, we don't take enough time to like think, oh wow, like a year ago I would have been so happy seeing this. So I just, would love to hear from you like how does it feel right now to be where you're at in business, having some clients reach out to you, having all this, the following that you have on LinkedIn, like how does it feel for you right now?
It feels really good. Like honestly, like there's nothing about this that is easy.
Mhm,
But it does feel like I have a foothold.
mhm,
It feels
mhm.
like I have a foothold. It feels like I've developed some consistency, which was a struggle for me. And
Yeah,
I think narrowing down everything and just really focusing in has, like I said, been a tremendous help.
yeah,
But also business has changed me as a person. Like I'm a lot more patient. It's
yeah,
easier for me to make decisions.
yeah.
Um, I've made decisions in my personal life, like re-entering the workforce and side hustling my business
Mhm,
and continuing to grow it from that perspective. And I feel like a year ago, I would not have even made that decision because I would have felt like if you go back into the workforce after you left, you're a failure. But
mhm.
that's just not the way that I see it. I see it as a way for me to continue growing my business. And it's just like I'm able to like think more strategically
Yeah,
in the future and be able to utilize my business in a way where, okay, I can think and I can plan and I can do these things. And it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
yeah.
Definitely, like I said, doesn't feel easy, but it feels challenging. And I'm just like super excited to continue on. And this year, like I'm ready. I'm coming for that six
Aw.
figures.
Yes, you are totally on track. I mean, like,
Oh
look at
yeah.
where you're growing. It's just bound to happen, right?
Exactly, exactly. And so, but yeah, it's just like I feel really good about where this is. I love helping people. I've graduated the clients that I did get. I had two of them, I graduated them, and now I'm looking to get more clients. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a phenomenal feeling. Like I'm just so very thankful. That's
Mhm,
what I am. I'm just so very thankful that I started working with you. I trusted my gut
mhm.
and it just all worked out in the best way possible.
Yeah, I love that. Aw. And like just seeing your growth too in every coaching session, it like makes me like so happy like to hear you talk about it because I think patience was like one of the biggest things that I've seen. I'm like, okay, it's like from session one to like session five, it was much more like it was just calming, right? Like every session we weren't like, oh my God, like there's just like so many things we gotta like freak out over. It was just like, you know what, one step at a time. And then, the results just it's more like sustainable and it feels you can do it for a long time rather than
Oh
like, oh,
yeah.
I have to do a new strategy every month or something.
Well, I mean, the thing was, is like, yeah, I was incredibly impatient. Like, I was like, even then, like, remember, I was like, with my email list, I was like, well, what about my freebie? And
Mhm.
you were like, we can talk about a freebie when you make 10K months. And I was like, oh, and then you were like, do you want a big email list or do you want to get paid? And I
Mm,
was like, oh, okay. And now like I hear your voice in my head all the time. Whenever I like want to do, I'm like, oh, I could restart my podcast or I could do a YouTube channel. And I'm like, do you want do you want followers or do you want to get paid?
oh,
And
I love
I'm
that.
like, okay, like I want to get paid.
Oh, I'm glad
And
that my
everything else
voice.
will come.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that my voice is still in your head sometimes when
Oh
it
my
comes.
gosh, yeah. It's like get me together.
Oh, oh, so good. Okay, cool. I think just like one final question. I definitely appreciate your time for just, sharing your story with my audience here. So one final question, I guess to wrap everything up, what would you say to, I guess, someone maybe on the fence, they're watching this video and they're just like, you know what? Like maybe, Selena could be the coach for me and maybe not, or like what would you say to that person on the other side that's kind of hesitant now that you've been through my entire coaching for the last 3 or 5 months?
Do it. Just
Do
do
it.
it. Trust the process. I actually like I think it was like maybe 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before we were supposed to like graduate. I'm
uh,
like, so how can I work with you again?
Yeah.
And so like, we're gonna be like revisiting and
Yep.
continuing to work with each other this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just say do it. I mean, here's the thing. Um, especially if you've been in business for a year or you've tried it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it's just not working for you. Um, you have done it your way for X amount of time and it's not working. And
Mhm.
so maybe you have to release some of the control and let somebody else come in, and someone who is not a part of your business, someone who is not super emotionally invested in your business, someone with an outside perspective that can come in and can look at your business from a high level and say, okay, these might be some problem areas that you can consider and be able to do that. And Selena is that person. And so I thought that it was an amazing experience. I still find myself like, oh, I could just, reach out to her, and I'm like, oh, we're not working together right now. But it's just like I try to think about things that I've learned from her, and they stay with you. This is, but if you're the kind of person where it's like you want your business to be successful and you're willing to learn and you're willing to do the things that you need to do in order to get your business to a place of health and to lay a good foundation so that you can build upon it, go to Selena. If you are not trying to do any of that work, then stay right where you are.
Aw, I love the honesty. Oh my God. That is so good because I feel like you can tell that story so well because like you've been on that side where you're like, I'm not ready, or like you want to do it on
Right.
your own. So I'm sure there's other people because I definitely used to be that person too. It's like, you know what? I'm smart enough. I can figure it out. And
Yeah,
then,
and there's
like,
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with trying it on your own, but at some point, it's like you can keep doing it and stay stuck, or you can
yeah,
realize that you need help and ask for help, which is, I mean, there's no successful person on this planet that
yeah,
got to where they are by doing it alone.
yeah.
It's not a thing. And
Mhm.
so, like, every successful person has a coach, every successful person has, invested in coaching. And I think that as business owners, especially small business owners, we have to get used to being able to make that investment into
Yeah,
our business, um, and into ourselves, and be able to, get a coach. Um, and be willing to put in the work, because coaches, like, we don't do it for you. Selena can't run my business for me.
no,
And so, if it didn't work, then that would be on me, but it's like I wanted it to work. And I was like, okay, I don't know, I've never done this before, but she said do it. I'm paying her.
yeah,
I'm certainly not paying her so that she could tell me what to do and I could turn a blind eye. I don't like to waste money.
yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, girl, I'm paying you. Let's try it out. And I have had no regret.
Oh, and it's like a partnership, right? Like
It
every like
really is.
with your clients, it's a partnership where we both, I can do my best to give you guidance and coaching, but you still have to like do the work and implement and make the most out of our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not team hustle. Like, there are days when I need rest. And, there
Yeah.
were times where, I was in like a not so great spot during our coaching. And you were just like, what does Jasmine need?
Mm,
Let's take some time to rest. Like, what do you need? And we had a coaching session that had nothing to do with business. And like, it's like that was impactful. That was helpful. And that's like a true coach. That is the true coach right there. It's like the whole person. Like, yes, I'm here for business coaching, but if I'm not well, my business can't be well. And
yeah.
so, you don't have to be team hustle, team no sleep in order to grow your business and feel successful in your business. You just have to be willing to learn and be
Yeah.
willing to do the work.
I love that. And like give yourself what you need during those times that you actually need that break. Right. A lot of
Mhm.
times, like my clients come to me, it's not just like, here, you have to do XYZ strategy. What do you need right now? So like
Right.
maybe you're watching this, you're like, oh my God, I have to work so hard. Well, like there is time and place for work. And there's also like you don't want to neglect your needs in the process of building your vision because this is a long marathon. We're not here to just like make a really, six-figure business in a year and then like dip out. Like
Right.
we
No.
want to feel sustainable. And I think that's a lot of my philosophy and why my clients come to me is we want to build a sustainable and a business that will last for years to come, for decades to come.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
100%.
yeah, aw, this is so, so good. I so appreciate you, Jasmine. And I know
Oh,
that, we'll be working together very soon after, you we go through some stuff. So I think it'll be really, really exciting. And I just, loved working with you and just hearing your story, hearing the way you talked about your transformation makes me really happy as a coach because I think sometimes as a coach we don't know what we like. We know the transformation, but to hear it from our clients, I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't know that's how you felt. So I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. This was really, it makes me feel like even more lit up to like, oh my God, there's so many more clients I want to help because I know there's more Jasmines out there.
Oh
So
yes. Oh yes. It has been a wonderful time. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you are my first coach, and
oh,
it's just
so
been the
honored.
best. It's
Of
been the
course. Oh, so honored. And maybe you can share with your audience, like where can they find you? I'll link, wherever profile or what links you want me to, put in this post. So, people can find you and maybe they could use your help for
best. Yeah.
transitioning in their career.
Absolutely. And so I am on LinkedIn. I do have an Instagram, but I am very responsive on LinkedIn. And you can just search me. It's Jasmine Writer. And I'll give the links to Selena so that she can put the links in there. And then also you can email me at Jasmine, Jasmine, at Jasmine Writer Coaching. And my last name is spelled Rider. So yeah, Jasmine at JasmineWriterCoaching.com, and I'm very receptive in my email. And you can find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, a connection,
Yay.
follow. I would love to connect with you.
Amazing. I will link her bio and everything, the contact information in the post. So you guys will see it.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I appreciate you. And thank you for all of you guys that tuned in, watching the replay. I hope you found some value from this today in our live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Amazing. Wow.